about the Let's Roll Cruiser Dolly. I picked one of these up after seeing the ad on Facebook. I've been using it for about 6 months now and I've been really happy with it. Let's talk a little bit about why I needed a dolly in the first place. One of the main benefits for me is I have a crowded garage, so being able to stand the bike upright and move it as close to a wall or up behind a car as possible has a lot of benefits to me. It's hard to wheel the bike around and get it on a kickstand, especially one of these big baggers, so the dolly helps out a lot with that. It also allows me to do my own maintenance, and it gets both the tires off the ground, so for extended storage and stuff like that in the winter when it's snowing, it's great for winterizing the bike. The Let's Roll is a little bit more expensive than other options, but I wanted to give you guys some kind of review so you know if it's worth spending your own money. With that in mind, let's get at it. Alright guys, let's take just a little bit of a look at this dolly. When you get it in the package, it actually comes in two parts. If you didn't know by the video, you actually do have to have a separate jack for this setup. It'd be nice if one day it was integrated, but this is kind of the reason that you're able to get up underneath the bike and wrench on stuff if you need to, because you have all this empty space. So you do have this little platform jack. It's nothing special. I think you can find the same one on Amazon. It's what you need to get the bike up in the air to get it down onto the dolly rails. When it comes in the package, you get both parts. They're packaged together. Right now they're $399, which is definitely on the upper end, but let me tell you, this actual dolly piece is super high quality. The bolts, all the hardware and stuff is not cheap at all. There's no fitment issues. It's got super nice casters on it. The thing weighs a ton. It's a super stout piece, way over engineered, which is always nice when you're putting an 800-pound, $20,000+ motorcycle on it. It gives you a little bit of peace of mind. This thing is super stable with the bike on it, and I'll show you in a little bit. Powder coating's nice. The welds look pretty good. It's got a little Made in the USA sticker over here. There's really not that much to be said about it. It's just a really high quality metal setup. It's got this nice grip on these rails to keep your bike from moving around, and that's one of the differences between this one and other ones, is how stable your motorcycle is on it. You don't have to worry about it tipping left, right, front, back, anything like that. So the platform jack, if you've never used one of these before, it just works off of this nut right here. When there's nothing on it, you can turn it by hand to raise and lower. You can use a 22mm socket if you want, or you can use like an electric impact or something. They say not to use an impact on it, but I do. I just put it on a really low setting and go really slow. It doesn't take so long to crank it by hand, and I'm going to show you guys that way because I know not everybody has access to air tools. But I just wanted to give you guys an overview. I mean, this is super quality stuff, man. They say made in the USA, like even the logo is nice. This piece, if kept inside, is gonna last longer than you are for sure. So it's just super high quality. Okay, so the first step of getting this dolly going is you're going to need a 22mm socket for the nut here. You're going to want a pretty long extension so that you don't interfere with your exhaust, you don't bust your hand on your floorboard. You just lower this thing down enough to fit underneath the bike and you slide it up underneath there. This is going to be the longest part in this process because you have to get the weight centered enough to where you can get both legs of the dolly in there. That's going to be like your most time consuming part the first couple times you do it, because you're either going to be too far back or too far forward. So you got to play with it a little bit. I've gotten better at it since I've done it a couple of times. Just goes on the bolt there and just start cranking it. This is a little bit faster using an electric or an air impact. Just don't do it too violently, so just do it really slow. It's not so bad with the wrench, but it is going to take a little bit longer because you got to get the bike relatively high. Okay, that's probably good. Okay, so we got the bike lifted up enough to get the dolly underneath. Notice that both tires do not have to be all the way off the ground. The front tire, because of the slope of my garage, is not all the way off the ground. That's okay. I just need it to be high enough to slide the dolly underneath. So sliding the dolly just straddles the jack. Line it up so both of these black frame rails are going to be on the actual rails. Make sure it doesn't interfere with the kickstand at all. And once you're centered up, we'll go back to the other side. All right, back around the other side. Just like you would a jack and jack stands. Once everything's lined up, we're just going to reverse our ratchet. And we're going to come down onto the jack. Once the tension frees up, try not to bang it up against your exhaust like I just did. Jack comes out, and now we're set to go. So we're pretty much finished with our setup. I just want to show you guys how easy this bike is to move. We're up on the dolly. The front tire is making contact with the ground, but there's no weight on it. You can adjust the dolly back and forth if you need to get it perfect for the way your bike's going to sit in your garage. But I'll show you how easy it is to spin this bike in a circle. Right, just be careful not to run into anything, but with pretty minimal effort, I can spin the bike all the way around, which is pretty nice for having to work on it or whatever. You'll see the way the dolly goes in on the kickstand side. There's no way for somebody to come up and put your kickstand down without you realizing it, and then you dropping the bike the opposite way. All right, we've got the bike turned all the way around and pushed up against the workbench there. It's great for if you need to move the bike closer to your tools, closer to where your lights are at. For me, most of the time that I use it, it's just to turn the bike around in the garage. I have a little bit of a garage slope, or driveway slope, so when I ride the bike in, I can get it up on the dolly, get it spun around, and get it back off the dolly in a couple of minutes. That's super convenient for me because I would rather ride down the driveway versus, back down the driveway, especially if there's two cars in the way and I have to split between them. As you guys can see, it's just a super convenient way to move your bike around the garage. It doesn't take that long to get it up on there, especially if you're confident with the placement of the platform jack. It's just a really nice product. Another reason I like this dolly better than some of the other ones on the market, especially the ride-on versions, is that it stores so easy. Most of the time I just have it straddle my air compressor like you're looking at, and it doesn't take up any room at all. I don't like dollies that are going to take up a large portion of your garage when they're not in use. If you guys are in the market for one of these things, seriously consider the Let's Roll Cruiser Dolly. It's made in the United States by a small business, great customer support, fast shipping. It's a little on the pricey side, but it's going to last a really long time, and I think you guys are going to like it over the other options that are on the market. If you have any other questions, put them down in the comments. I'll try to answer whatever I can. Until next time, thanks guys.